Hi everyone! I know it's been a really long time since my last video. I got caught up at work, but I'm finally here and I'm finally ready to build Guilliman. I didn't just want this to be like a silent video where all I did was put this guy together. So I decided that while putting them together, we are going to talk about factions, some of the armies that you can choose to go into. Obviously I'm a little biased. I play Adeptus Astartes, so I'm gonna recommend them the highest because I love them dearly. But before we get into that, just so you can see the box art, because it's really pretty. Hopefully when I paint my Guilliman, he'll come out looking as gorgeous, but we'll see. He's got a lot of trim on him, but I have been practicing my trim because I do play Thousand Suns, so I've been working on that. Also, just for those who have never seen what it looks like when you have a model for the first time, they're gonna come in these. These are called something, I can't remember what they're called. I just call them like they're the plastic bars or the plastic prisons that they come trapped in. But they're gonna come in stuff like this. And some of them are, there's not just like 2 or 3 usually. There's, for bigger models, there's way more. Like, for example, Magnus, who hopefully I'll get to in the next video. He's got a lot more because he's way bigger. And his wings take up basically the whole thing just on their own. He's 3. He's huge. He's really big. And I was looking through his instruction manual, and the way you build him is really funny. Is you build him and then you put the armor on top. So if you wanted to, you could just have a naked Magnus on the field, because I mean there's nothing stopping you from just stopping the build without the armor, which is really funny, because typically the armor is built right in. Like with Guilliman, obviously he's just armor. But I suppose that's because he's small. Alright, so factions. I'm going to be using this website called Warhammer 40,000.com /the armies. So you can go look at this for yourself, because it does have little descriptions for every army that you click on, which is really cool. Again, for frame of reference, I play Adeptus Astartes, I play Ultramarines, Thousand Suns, and I have homebrew chapters that I created. And we'll talk a little bit about homebrew too, because I love homebrew. I am gonna pause intermittently because these are there's a lot going on, and I really don't want to mess up Guilliman. And I'll, just for the sake of you guys knowing, this is the glue that I'll be using to put him together. And again, for those of you who have never built something like this, what it's gonna do is each piece is numbered, and then you look for those numbers on the plastic. You can't really see it on camera. There it is. 1 and 2 there. So we're gonna get started. The 4 big categories for your armies or factions are going to be the Space Marines. Space Marines get their own category because there's so many of them. You have your Space Marines, your armies of the Imperium, Chaos, and your Xenos. So in Warhammer, we call our aliens Xenos, kind of like xenomorphs, if that helps you remember it. So Space Marines, right off the bat, they get their own section because there's so many of them, and because they do function so different compared to other things that you'll see. So, and even inside of the Space Marine factions, each faction kind of functions very differently as well. So Ultramarines are like, they're the basic ones, and if you choose that faction, which I really want you to because I love them, you will get made fun of. Just prepare for that. What direction is this supposed to... Oh, I'm struggling. Hold on. Give me a second. I have to focus for a second. This is really weird. What? Hold on. This part faces up. And see, the problem is that, like, I'm so used to building regular Space Marines, right? There we go. That's how it goes in. Okay. What I like to do is I like to put the pieces together first so I know how they click in, and then I apply the glue. So I'm less likely to mess up. But I'm so used to putting together regular Battle Brothers now that, like, guilliman's armor is obviously so much more intricate that it's really confusing to look at, because it's all the parts that I'm used to, but way more. Like, I'm looking at the battery pack that I'm gonna have to build, and that is, I mean, it looks ridiculous. It looks like 3 battery packs. Sorry about that. Totally lost my train of thought there. So the Space Marines are, your Ultramarines are gonna be like the basic model. That's like the ground, that's average. We'll call average. They're called what's Codex compliant. The Codex is something that Rebute Guilliman created, which is the guy that I'm building. He is for those who don't know, he's the Primarch of the Ultramarines. And when you have Space Marine chapters, the Primarch is the big leader that everybody kind of comes from, including your successor chapters. They all use the same gene seed. This is probably a lot of words that you don't understand, but if you get into Space Marine lore, you will understand this all soon. I think this is Guilliman's butt. I think that's his butt. I think I'm building his torso right now. This is really weird. So, wait, what? It goes inside of it. Hold on. Oh yeah, this is fully his torso. Okay, well then I should glue this on first because it has to go around it. Sometimes you just saw I had to separate that because sometimes things don't slip in the way GW exactly intends, or maybe I'm just reading the instructions incorrectly. But stuff sometimes goes in weird, which is kind of why I like using this glue over, say, a Gorilla Glue, because it takes a little bit for this to set. So if worst comes to worst, you can see I just ripped that apart and I'm able to put it back together. But if this was Gorilla Glue, that would have already been dry. And then I wouldn't have been able to separate it. So Codex compliant just means that they listen to Guilliman and what the Codex said. Anything outside of that has pretty different rules from what I have seen in battle. So examples of this are going to be, and these are all sectioned out on the website, is you're going to have Black Templars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Death Watch, Grey Knights, and Space Wolves. All of them are still Space Marines. They're just different rules, and they all look pretty different. Blood Angels are going to be the only ones that look like the normal Space Marines. They're just red. That's a really satisfying piece to put in. It's got little things that it sits in, and it looks really nice. I did not anticipate how detailed and pieced up that this would be. I might be quiet a lot more than I thought because I'm focusing, making sure that I get this in correctly. Okay. That's Guilliman. That's his chest. Yeah, that's totally his chest. So we're building his torso right now. So I was right. That is his butt. That's the back. I recognized it because they have like the Space Marine armor has this little metal thing that goes over their butt, and it doesn't cover it all. And then they have like the metal slit things that go around the rest of their body. Cute. Right. Out of those other factions, which ones I would recommend? I love Space Wolves. Like, if I wasn't an Ultramarine or a Thousand Sun, I probably would have done Space Wolves, as I think they're really cool, and their models are really pretty. But I am a blueberry, because I love the Ultramarines. Sorry. And I am one of those people that got into the hobby because I saw the game first. I saw Space Marine 2, and I went and I downloaded Space Marine 1 because you can get it on, at the time, the secret level was coming out. So if you had an Amazon account, you could get Space Marine 1 for free on Amazon Games. So I went and I played that because at the time Space Marine 2 was really expensive. And I didn't want to spend that money because I am in college and I didn't feel like spending it at the time. And I didn't know that this was a part of it. And then I went to my D&D club and I was like, hey, has anybody heard of Warhammer? It's this thing I'm discovering. And everyone was like, oh my God, yes. And it was really funny because there was this guy there that night who was there to talk about a Warhammer club he was starting. Like he was just starting it. And it was really cool that the day I talked about it, that he was there. And I fell in love with the hobby from there. I just want to point this out. This chest piece is really pretty. If it focuses. It's just, his armor is so gorgeous. Black Templars are cool. They're a crusade chapter, so there's like, they don't follow the only 1,000 Space Marines in a chapter. There's a bunch of them. If you're on a crusade, you're allowed to have more because, you're crusading. People are gonna die. Blood Angels are awesome. We love Sanguinius. Dark Angels are really cool. I think they're gorgeous. I have the Dark Angels cosmetic in Space Marine 2 for Volkord, and it's beautiful. Death Watch is really cool. We love them. We love the veterans. And then Grey Knights they're cool. I think they're a tad bit overhyped. Moving on, we have the Armies of the Imperium. So these are going to be a lot of humans, minus one of you that's there. Armies of the Imperium. So somebody actually, I saw this video that really put it in perspective for me, is that there's only like, give or take, there's 1,000 Space Marine chapters that we know of, and give or take, there's about 1,000 Space Marines in every chapter. Obviously, they're dying and they're being trained, and then there's also people like the Black Templars who have an unlimited amount of Space Marines. They just keep making them. But, for the sake of debate, let's just say that it hovers about around 1,000 or, more or less. That's only 1 million Space Marines in the entire Imperium. So most of the battles in the Imperium are actually being fought by humans. Regular, degular, everyday people like you and me would be in the armies, or probably on an ag world, or worst comes to worst, you become a servitor, which means you get lobotomized and turned into a robot, because the Imperium of Man is strictly against AI, so they don't use any AIs, none of that. So the Armies of the Imperium section includes the Adeptus Sororitas, Adeptus Custodes, or Custodes, however you pronounce it, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the Astra Militarum. So I'll go over each of those because all of those are really cool. The Adeptus Custodes are okay. For those of you who know that the, oh my god, I feel terrible, I'm blanking on his name, the Superman guy, who's really nice and sweet. He plays Warhammer. He plays Adeptus Custodes right now. But the Adeptus Sororitas are the girls. That's gonna be, it's basically space nuns. They believe really hard in the Emperor. They're super uber religious. Yeah, because girls can't be Space Marines. Girls can be Custodes, or they could. There's a lot of drama in the fandom about it. I don't care. My stand on it is that I think Custodes should be girls and guys, because it gets to that point where you're so heavily augmented and so trained in everything that it just doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy at that point, because you're not human anymore. You're a completely other thing. I don't think Adeptus Custodes, I don't think they you're brother or sister. You are just custody now. That's what you are. And also just so Space Marines are only the best of the best guys. So if we want the best of the best of the best of the best of the best to be the Custodes, it makes more sense for them to take girls and guys, because if you want the best of the best, your percentage of that is already so small. You're gonna want a little more, and at some point, statistically, the best of the best of the best, at somewhere is going to be a girl over a guy. Not all the time, but somewhere the two are going to switch. So if you want that and you want the best, I doubt the Imperium would care at that point. So Adeptus Custodes are cool. They're pretty. I like the gold and the red. But I love Space Marines. Again, I'm really, really biased. I love the Space Marines. Custodes kind of get boring to me because they are so overpowerful. It's just like, you know, where is the struggle? Where is the... And they're like, again, they're so powerful and they're so like up there in the high and mighty, like they're nearly gods, that it's like it loses the brotherhood and like the stress and the strife that you see in the Space Marines and how they care for each other. Like, I just, like, the care that I see between, like, brothers and Space Marines, I don't see in Custodes. So, like, when you play Space Marine 2, there is this scene towards the end when you're with the other brothers and you're Titus and you're holding up the banner and you're shooting the things that come through the portals, and you can hear the other battle brothers talk to each other, and one of them cries out and he says, oh, they've taken my leg. He's been shot, right? And his leg's gone. And Titus calls out, you know, oh, get on top of him, protect him, brothers, you know. And it's like, that level of care is like something I don't see in the Custodes, which is like, it makes it boring for me. Moving on, we have the Adeptus Mechanicus. If you told me right now you're not allowed to play Space Marines anymore, I would play Adeptus Mechanicus. I love the Mechanicus so much, and I know I just babbled about how, like, I love how the Space Marines take care of each other, but I love the Mechanicus so much. So the Mechanicus are the tech priests. These are guys who believe that the flesh is weak, and they will slowly but surely replace all of their human body parts with robot body parts. And what they do is they make sure everything in the Imperium, mechanically and machine-wise, is still running and working. So in the Imperium, they believe that everything that is mechanical has what's called a machine spirit. So if I wanted to turn on the lights or use my computer or my phone, I would have to, you know, say a prayer to my machine spirit and stuff like that. And it also keeps things running longer. They pray and do stuff, and they work with machine spirits. So they're really cool. They're all like super logical thinking because they've been, you know, slowly replacing themselves with, you know, robot parts. And I'm sorry if you can hear that drinking in the background. That is my dog. But yeah, so I love the Mechanicus. They're really funny. There's a level in Space Marine 2 where you have to go get the data of a tech priest out of the lab because they have to leave because the place is being overrun with Tyranids. And it's a really funny level because the entire time the tech priest is like, you know, calculating the time it has taken you are being too slow and stuff like that. And it's really funny to hear somebody talk like that to a Space Marine because you never hear anybody talk back to them like that. And I love them. They're so funny. Like, they just do not give a shit. I love it. And finally, in here, in this, we have, last but not least, we have the Astra Militarum. So this is going to be your regular, degular humans. This is the everybody get in army. This is just the human army. So it's men, women, doesn't matter, everybody in. They really don't care. Like, if you're a woman, you can have a position of power. They don't care. Are you a good leader? Good, get in. Sorry, I'm putting together his shoes, and they're really cute. Not much to say about them. There's in my Warhammer club, there's a lot of, we call them guard or guardsmen. There's a lot of guardsmen players. And they're good. It's a good army, solid army. When I first learned how to play, I was lent a guardsman army to learn the rules of the game, and they were very fun. It's very fun to play as them. You could definitely make up tons of awesome stories as well. Is this supposed to look like this? Oh, it is. Okay. It's like, it's not in all the way, so it looked weird. But I guess it's because his leg is bent. If that's how his armor works, that's really funny. And it bends like that. But I guess that makes sense. It's kind of like a suit of armor. My laptop fell asleep. Okay. Put that together. So that's left leg. I got a leg. And I also have a torso. I forgot to show you guys the torso. He's got a cinched waist. There's women that would kill for those hips, guilliman. Okay. We'll save Xenos for last because I know the least about them. So, we need 9 and 10. All right. So now we're on to the Forces of Chaos. So these are going to be all of your rogue, it's going to be regular chaos, but it's also going to be all of your rogue or traitor legions. So people who swapped sides in the Horus Heresy. Sorry, hold on. This is a difficult piece to get out. Okay. So some of these are going to be, so just general Chaos Space Marines is like the leftovers of Horus's army, it looks like. Remnants, and just like kind of any other not major original Traitor Legion. So like there's like a successor chapter that's called like the Dark Wolves or something like that, and it's claimed that we don't know their chapter origin. You look at their armor, they're very clearly Traitor Space Wolves, but like obviously they don't get their own section because they're very small. So that would be just your regular Chaos Marines. Then you have, why aren't the Night Lords here? Okay, the Night Lords aren't listed here, but I'm going to talk about them because I have a friend in the Penn State Warhammer Club that plays them who's been really awesome and really nice to me. He gave me my first ever Space Marine model, which was awesome, and he also gave me my first ever codex because obviously he doesn't use the Space Marine codex, and he got the Chaos one, and he was like, I don't need this, but you need it. And I... Don't quote me on this. I think I was the first Space Marine player in the group that was like staying consistently. There were others, but they were kind of like in and out, I think. It was definitely the first Ultramarine player. And I know that because I got bullied when they found out I was a Space Marine player. All right, we're building arms now. Or sorry, when I was bullied when they said I was going to be an Ultramarine player. Because I came in and I was like, oh yeah, I think the... salamanders are kind of cool, and I came back from winter break, and I was like, so, about that, I got the blue guys instead, because I really liked their story. I just like I'm a sucker for the classics. What do I want to say? I can't defend my case anymore. That was really, I've never seen, I don't know if that was a printing error, or if it was supposed to be like that. I've never seen one clipped in like that, though. Oh, he's got these big, huge hand gauntlets. Cute. What am I looking for? 34? There you are. That said 43. So, yeah, I'm going to shout out the Night Lords because they're not on here. They're a Traitor Legion as well. They're really cool. They're, like, all about blood and torture, and we're going to take the human skin off of as trophies and wear it and stuff like that. So if you're into like the really dark guys, then they're a good option for you. But the ones that are listed here are the 3 big guys right now that are all getting like big army refreshes and stuff, and also one of the armies that I play. You've got Death Guard, so those are the ones that fell to Nurgle, which is the Chaos God of Plague, and there's the World Eaters, so those are the ones that fell to Khorne, that's Angron. Oh, by the way, Death Guard is Mortarion, that's their Primarch. So Angron or Angronius is World Eaters. They're actually getting army stuff right now. GW, I'm pretty sure, just put out something on their Instagram. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention because there was, I think it's the chapter master of the Salamanders is also named Vulcan. And I thought they were just like, oh yeah, and also Vulcan 40K model is out. And I was like, what? When did Vulcan get back? I was really confused. So I was not paying attention to the World Eaters at the time. I was staring at that Vulcan, trying to figure out if it was that. Sorry. I have dogs. There's no one out there. I don't know what they're barking at. His pauldron says his name. It says Guilliman on it. If it focuses. You can't even see it. It's so small. That's really pretty cute. It's very pretty. It's a really pretty arm. It's a really pretty arm. Now I have to glue a gun to it. It's just sometimes I remember, you know, what I'm building, because I'm always like, oh, that's so cute, that's so this, and then it's like, all right, glue a gun to this now. Okay, so I need 36. Where was I? Right, Angron. And then finally, last but not least, the second army that I play is the Thousand Sons, so that's Magnus the Red, and that is... The dogs are wrestling now. Coco! Thank you. There it is. I couldn't find 37. Hi. Magnus the Red. Yeah. Thousand Sons. They fell to Zeech. Is this supposed to be here? There's a weird little thing attached to this part of the gun. It's not a... Usually you cut those off because they're attached to the thing. That's not... It wasn't attached to anything. It was just hanging there. Interesting. This is so teeny tiny. My goodness. Love the Thousand Sons. If you like Psychers, but you want to stay in Space Marines, into Adeptus Astartes, they are a really good option for you because it is just a chapter of Psychers, which is why I love them, because I love Psychers and I feel really bad for them because they typically get the shit end of the stick. And then also what's listed here is just Chaos Demons. I guess you can just play as just like demons without the Space Marines. You would probably have a lot of Chaos Cultists as well, I would imagine. Okay, good. Sorry, when you do the weapons, you have to kind of pay attention. Hey! We're gonna eat a hat. When you do weapons, you kind of have to pay attention because sometimes they come with multiple different weapons that you can choose from, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just gluing willy-nilly with this gun. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Next arm. Ooh, we're doing the sword now. The sword is really cool because it was the Emperor's sword. Hey! Psst, come here. You want to see these gummies? Come here. Come here. Sorry they look, come here. You want to be on camera? They look awful right now because I had to shower them right before this video because they both stink. This one's Teak. Say hi. She's a Bernese mountain dog mixed with a poodle. We have Doodles because I have a sister who's allergic. Come here. Come here. She doesn't want to... this one doesn't like being lifted by me right now because she hates showers, and the last time I picked her up, it was to go in the shower. This is Coco. I promise they look better usually. This is because they're drying right now. And good girls. I have a sister who's allergic. So we have Doodles. They're hypoallergenic. And for those of you who are like allergic and you're not sure if that actually works, I'll tell you right now it works. They're awesome. My sister hasn't had an allergy reaction in a really long time. You hear them running. Hey! They were doing so well. I have to let them out soon. Okay. last but not least, we have the Xenos. So this is where a lot of my knowledge stops. Hard stop. Because I just kind of stopped caring. It's not that I don't care, it's just that a lot of the Xenos have, like, a lot of lore and, like, their own, like, it's like learning about another Imperium, essentially. So that's a lot, and I'm still learning about my Imperium and all the Space Marines, so that's a lot. So we have the Eldari, who are the, space elves. They're cool. I don't know. I'm not a fan of their armor, because I'm like, I got into it via Space Marine 2, so I'm very, like, grimdark, and there's a certain vibe and aesthetic that I was, taught into. And stuff like the Eldari kind of breaks me out of it. They're very clean looking, and they're very, they look like Gundam models to me, and I love Gundam models, don't get me wrong. There's some Eldari that look really cool. Like, when you go on the website, there's, like, the guy standing in front and the guy standing to the left look really stupid to me, but the guy on the right looks awesome. He's, like, got really cool armor on. Then you have the Dracardi, who I think are the Eldari, but evil. Again, I know nothing about the space elves. You're coming to the wrong person for information about that. I got his arm done. Tyranids, they're space bugs. They're like if cockroaches and ants had a baby together, and then they were so highly adaptable that they could eat every single part of a planet, down to the atmosphere. They just need to consume. That's what Tyranids are. If you really like big, huge hordes, this is the army for you. Yeah, that's them. I'm doing the battery pack now. Sorry about that. So, someone came home and the dog busted down the door. So that's why I had to go away. I don't remember what I was talking about last, but I do know that the last army I was on was the Necrons. So we'll just start from there, because I truthfully do not remember what I was talking about last. So, as I've probably mentioned already, the Necrons are a bunch of robots. I don't know their story, as in, like, I don't know how they originated. Don't quote me on this. I think they might have been humans at one point. Don't quote me on that. They're cool to look at. I think their lore is awesome, but fighting them in the in 40K is nightmarish, because they're tough to kill. They've got really good shooting profiles and, like, insane melee profiles. And contrary to popular belief, Space Marines are not very scary on the tabletop. I'm also just not, like, that great of a player. I'm learning. But yes, so they're hard to kill, they're hard to fight, and then when you do kill them, they get like a roll at some point where they just come back to life. So that makes them also quite annoying to kill. The first time I ever fought Necrons was in the one and only kill team I have ever played in, and it was nightmarish. And not gonna lie, probably the reason why I don't enjoy Kill Team all that much, just because it was so... It was a catastrophe. I was playing with my friends Sisters of Battle, and Sisters of Battle have, like, it was like 3 or 4 wounds in Kill Team, and the Necrons were at their lowest doing 3 damage at like an absolutely min roll. So that was killing most of my team, and if not killing them, putting them on 1 wound. So it was just really hard. And the only reason why I like survived as long as I did is because I had a medic and a girl who had 6 wounds. So I just kept perpetually healing her and not letting her die. And the person I was playing against kept perpetually rolling low rolls until he rolled a very good roll, and then I was done. But yes, so very hard to fight. Kill both in lore and out of lore. This is still like really weird. What? Oh, okay. There's a lot of, I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but I'm putting in these really teeny tiny pipes. Again, it feels like it at a disadvantage to have these in your armor because I feel like they would get ripped out relatively easily. Like if I was gonna fight Guilliman, I would start targeting all these pipes that are pumping into him, or into the armor, I should say. Most likely putting in the armor. Alright, that's about all I know about the Necrons. So then we're on to orcs. Everybody loves orcs. For those of you who aren't into Warhammer and this is news to you, dogs. Yes, there are orcs. For those of you who are like into D&D, these orcs are very different. They're a lot dumber, but they're also a lot more violent. Like orcs are typically kind of portrayed as very violent anyway, which kind of makes me upset because I love orcs. I love orcs a lot. For D&D, I have my own civilization of orcs that I created, and they're so cool. Orcs in hold on, let me take this arm off because I gotta cut some stuff off here. Orcs in Warhammer are aliens. They're also spores. They're spores. They're asexual reproduction. They're all guys. They lay not eggs. They really spores. Which hatch, and it's really weird and really gross, but we love them. We love the orcs. They're very funny. They talk funny. They all have British accents. Shoot, see, this is what I'm saying. This model is like breaking with all these weird little pipes. I just snapped one by accident. Okay. But, orcs are the only guys in the lore that are having a good time. If they win, they're having fun because they won. If they lose, they're having fun because they found a really good opponent. The like head orc, they're like emperor orc, I guess you would say. He's the prophet of the Wog, is Gazgul Macthraka, I think is his full name. I always call him Gaz because that's the shorthand of his name. Gaz is awesome. Love him. Really cool. The orcs are just really fun. We love the orcs. They're just a good time. They're the only guys having a good time. They're funny. They're silly. They're as silly as you're gonna get in Warhammer. Because it is still grimdark, they do still have their fair share of, oh yeah, I forgot this is like a messed up universe where messed up stuff happens. Example, they do keep human farms, because they do eat humans, and keep them as slaves. I'm not sure what for, because the orcs, I feel like they do like, they're a very DIY civilization. Like they build everything themselves, so maybe they just use them for just labor that they don't want to do, which would make sense. But they definitely eat humans. And sometimes, oh god, dang it, hold on, I gotta cut this part off or it's gonna bug me. Orcs are awesome, so they're all like connected to the warp in a kind of way. So like if all the orcs collectively believe something, it'll come true. So an example that you'll commonly hear is like their beliefs on colors, that certain colors are fast or make things fast and certain colors are sneaky. So an example of this is they think purple is the sneakiest color because have you ever seen a purple orc? So because a lot of orcs believe that, what will happen is if I painted this Guilliman purple and I was an orc, the last brushstroke I would do on this, he would turn completely invisible because they believe it's a sneaky color. In addition to this, they also believe, like, red is the fastest color, so things that they paint red go very fast. I think the reason why they came to that conclusion is because a bunch of Terminators were chasing after them, and they were being really slow, and, their thing that they were driving in was red, so they were like, obviously, red is fast color. Another funny example is I don't know if this is, like, a real thing that happened in the lore, but it's a story that I get told, and I love it, and I hope to God it's a real thing from the lore, because it's so funny. How does this connect? Weird. The story goes that there was a group of guardsmen, and there was a group of guardsmen, and they were fighting an orc invasion, and they're another horde army, so their, like, numbers are as crazy as Tyranids. There was a group of guardsmen fighting a bunch of orcs, and they ran out of ammunition, and they were like, oh my god, we're all gonna die. And the commander, or the commissar, was like, no, we won't die, keep shooting. And they were like, with what? And they were like, make the sounds. They started going pew 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 with their weapons, and because the orcs didn't know that they were out of ammunition, they kept dying, thinking they were being shot. And then they were winning, they were slowly pushing it back, and then they saw a group of orcs going, I'm a tank, as they were just coming towards them, and that's where the story ends. I don't think that's real, because orcs, like, they don't understand that their belief is, like, a power, so I doubt that they would, like, think to go, like, I'm a tank. But it's very funny, and it's a very good way of understanding how and why their, like, stupid little belief thing works. And if you like just, like, how, like, funny talk and funny speech, orc speech is so funny to listen to. Like, I love them the same way I love how the Mechanicus talk. That's another army, like, if I couldn't be, like, something of the Imperium, and you're like, you have to do something outside the Imperium, that's probably what I would do, is I would do orcs. This is really weird. The way this bird face goes in together is kind of strange. Can't tell if it's backwards. I hope this isn't backwards. I was just talking about how the rest of this went in very seamlessly and looked really good. This does not. Oh, it's because the bird's holding it. That makes more sense. It still doesn't look, like, very connected. This might be something I have to Gorilla Glue later on. I feel like that's going to break off a lot. And now there is the final race that we have to talk about here. Oh, sorry, I thought I clipped something off by accident. I got really scared. And that is the Tau. So the Tau are the newest in the GW. They're the youngest race. So they're, like, only, like, 6,000 years old. And comparatively to the Imperium of Man, or, like, the Eldaria that have been around for millennia upon millennia. Like, obviously the Imperium of Man has been around for forever because they're humans. Make sure this sits down right. Okay, he's coming together. He doesn't have a head yet. We're building the head right now. You are going to see me, I'm going to magnetize his head because he comes with two heads. One where he is out of the helmet, and the other one where he is wearing his helmet. And I don't want to choose which head I want. I want both, so I do magnetize stuff, and if you guys want a tutorial on that, I'd be happy to do that. Magnetizing isn't that hard, if you have the correct things to do it. I do need a different glue, though, because magnets don't stick with this glue, so where's my... This is my messed up one, and I'm just using it until it's dead, and it's great. I've got it on me now. Ooh. Okay, there's still some good in this. This might be the last use of this. I have a brand new one that's like... Ooh, no, it's on my nail. Hold on. So this is actually why I hate using Gorilla Glue. It's because it's really annoying and messy, and it, like, when you get it on your skin, It's really annoying because it feels like you're peeling off your skin because you have to be rough with it, but you're not. Like, I promise you, you're not peeling off your own skin, but it feels and it looks like you are. And then it gets on your nails and it stays there for a while. So it's just scraping your nails feels awful. So I have a little bit of rubbing alcohol here with me to help. It's not really helping that much. Okay, now I'm ripping my own skin. That's annoying. Alright, well, I literally only use it for the rare times I get resin models. And then, obviously for this. You know what? I really don't want any more on me, so we're putting this one to rest. We're done with you. I got more. It got me on the way out. Alright. And it's like ruined the inside of this now. Really upsetting. Oh, I just saw one of the paints I did last night. It made me feel better because it looked really good. I was like, who painted that? Me, you're the only one that paints. Anyway, so as I was saying, the Tau guilliman's head is weird. It comes in 3 parts. Interesting. So 43, 44, and 42 all go together, and that's his helmet head. So the Tau are really young. I prefer the Tau over the Eldari. I think they look better. Like, they're both like that futuristic Gundam alien civilization type look. But I don't know, I just think, oh my god, there's so much glue on me. There's way more than I thought. That's interesting. If anybody knows a really good way of getting Gorilla Glue off their skin, I would love to hear it. Because once I get it on me, it's so annoying to get off. Got it backwards? Had it backwards, laurels. He has laurels on and I put them the other way. Also, I'm just realizing, like, so when I magnetize the heads of Space Marines, it's really easy because their neck area is solid, and I just drill into that solid area, and then I drill into the head, and it goes in fine. This is going to be a little weird. I almost don't need to magnetize it at all. I could just... Actually, don't need to magnetize it, I don't think. I can just plop it in. I mean, I would be worried about it coming out. Yeah, let's not do that, actually. I don't want it to come out while I'm playing on a table and then I lose it. Guilliman head. Boom. I like the Tau. They look a little rough. Their armor looks a little like something that would be made in like a post-apocalyptic Earth, but like a post-apocalyptic Earth where it's like the last stage of Earth wasn't like it wouldn't be like a Walking Dead apocalypse. It would be like we were already like futuristic. We had like flying cars and stuff. Like this is the kind of things that people would make with that technology in the apocalypse. I like them. I think they look cute. I don't know anything about them. I know they are very cocky and confident because the wars that they have fought are very, very different from the wars that how the Imperium wages. Like they're used to like kind of like a clean cut, very like hyper honorable kind of stuff. And I think like they're not used to the brutality that the Imperium uses, like i.e. like how brutal some of the Space Marines fight and like how you make a Space Marine even is like they're like, what? Why are you doing that to your body? That's horrifying. Like why would you torture yourself? Like just how the Imperium functions as a whole is very, very disturbing to the Tau. There's a story where a Tau general, they manage to kill a dreadnought, and they've never killed a dreadnought before. So they take them, they open it up, and they're like, oh, what's in here? It's obviously a pilot, because that's how their stuff works, is big robot mech, we put a person inside of it, but the person can get in and out. And when they find, what they find inside is absolutely horrifying, is the Space Marine inside. And it's, they're like, oh my god, it barely, like, they don't even recognize that they're like, surely this thing is dead, because it's, like, got no limbs, it's got stuff inside of it, like, they're like, how is a dead body piloting this thing? And then the Space Marine inside of it started talking at them, and spewing, and like, oh, you're awful, dirty, filthy heretics, rah, like, just filled with hate and rage. And the Tau were, like, mortified by it. They'd never seen something like it before, and they're like, okay, whatever, surely this can't get any worse. And they scanned it to see how old it was, and they realized that one dreadnought was older than their entire civilization. And that's when the Tau really started to freak out, realizing, like, who they were up against and stuff like that. And I was not paying attention. I made a mistake. I fixed the mistake. Okay, we're good. So yeah, Tau are kind of cool. It's fun to make fun of them, though. Just as equally, it's really fun to make fun of them, because they were, like, when they came out, everybody, like, rushed to buy them because they were the new meta, and their army rules were, like, really overpowered. And oh, I thought I just broke this. Oh my god. And their army rules were really overpowered and stupid, and I think they still are, but they're starting to cut back, I think. I don't know. I saw a thing recently where it was, like, a bunch of people were selling their Tau armies because they're not good anymore. So it sucks to suck. I have 1,000 Suns in Ultramarines, so... which aren't incredible either. I mean, well, I can speak on the Ultramarines, but I haven't actually used my 1,000 Suns in battle yet. I'm very excited to do that, though, because like I said before, there's a friend of mine in the club who's a sister of battle, and he's like, I finally get to use all my anti-psyker stuff, because I'm the only person who has a big psyker army. Otherwise, like, even, like, our other Space Marine players, like, no one really has librarians and stuff like that. Which is funny, because before I was, like, set on getting, like, 1,000 Sun army, I just like really liked the sorcerer's box and was like, oh, let me get this just because it looks really cool. And what I did is that they're the same base size that you use for librarians, so I just used them as librarians for a little bit. This glue on my finger is gonna make me lose my mind. I gotta Google how to get this off me. But yeah, that's the last... Oh, that fits in really nice. That's the last faction that's listed on here. I can't speak on Age of Sigmar. I don't know anything about it. It looks really pretty. That's also Warhammer. I think it's in the same universe. Don't quote me on that. It probably isn't. Because I think they fight something other than chaos. I don't know. Horus Heresy is popping right now. That's cool. Hopefully we get the Primarchs restocked. I really want I really want Leman Russ. I couldn't think of his name for a second. Goodness. I really want Leman Russ. My goal is to have, like, all the Primarchs. I have 3 right now. One of them is supposed to arrive today, actually. I'm very excited. Alright, both of them are cleaned out. I seriously doubt that I'll, like, ever get all of the Primarchs, like, actually all of them, because Horus Heresy models are hard hard to come by. Speaking of things that are hard to come by, oh my goodness gracious. I wanted to get a Horus Heresy book. I wanted to get, how does this fit in here? Sorry, this little, I think he's either a Nurgle Marine, as in a Death Guard, or he's a, which way do you go on? Oh, head down. There it is. I wanted to buy a Horus Heresy book, not realizing that they're, like, not printed anymore and are super weirdly expensive. I wanted to get the Magnus one, and it was like, oh, it's $9 as an ebook, and I was like, oh, cute, I want the physical version, and the physical version is $109 on eBay. Like, I could get the Magnus Joy Toy for $5 less, I think right now. It's $104. That's not happening. I'm not buying that book for that much money. That is insanity for a book. Sweet. Yeah, but I got someone to, I don't know, it's crazy to me. Let's see. I am gonna drill into these and put these bad boys in. So how do I want to do this? I need like a light. And here he is, finally complete. Magnetizing his head was stupid hard. I'll show you what magnetizing the other Marines looks like. It's way easier. Because as you can see, he is hollow, and working in that tiny little space is ridiculously hard to get magnets into, especially when your only tweezers are also magnetic. So here, this is another Space Marine that I magnetized the head of, because this is just for fun. This is the first time I ever did a magnet. But you can see that they are actually solid on the inside, so they're way easier to drill into. And these heads are also a lot nicer to drill into, whereas Guilliman, he comes in like 3 parts. So as you drill the magnet in, he kind of splits open. But he's done, and he's ready to be primed blue, and I will paint him when I am brave enough. I forgot to put his Iron Halo back on, but it's on now. But that's it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if there's anything you guys want me to talk about in the next one, I'll gladly talk about it. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. And then the next one, we'll move on to Magnus. Bye-bye.